Today we are going to learn about multiple representations. So multiple representations, we can use different variables to describe a relationship. So usually we use the variables x and y. We can use different ones to describe the input and output. When you write an equation, you determine what variables to use to represent different quantities. So this is going to be in the case of a word problem. When we pick a variable to describe a relationship, we get to pick a variable that makes the most sense. So for example, if our word problem were trying to represent cars, we would pick C to represent the cars. So let's practice. The hospitality class is having a bake sale. They are charging $5 for each cake. Write an equation to find the total amount earned T for selling C cakes. So we want to first put it in words and say that the total earned equals 5 times the number of cakes sold. And it's 5 times because each cake is worth $5. Okay, and variables. So we're going to say what we're using to represent each situation. So we are going to let the variable T represent the total amount earned. And we are going to let C represent the total or the cakes sold. Okay, and then we want to write our variable. So our equation using our new variables. So we have to decide what is the independent and what is the dependent. Our independent is what can stand alone. So the amount of money we earn, T, is dependent on how many cakes we sell. So if each cake is $5 and we said it's 5 times the amount of cakes sold, it would be T equals 5 times C. So in other words, we can write this as T equals 5 parentheses C. Let's try another one. In a health report, Mia finds the average child's breathes 18 times each minute when not active. Write an equation to find the total breaths B a non-active child takes in M minutes. So our words are the total breaths is 18 times the minutes. Our variable, we're going to, as we said in our sentence, let B represent breaths. And let M represent minutes. So again, we have to decide what is the dependent and what is the independent. The breaths are going to depend on total minutes. Therefore, the dependent is going to equal, so B equals, remember we said 18 times the total minutes. So 18 times the minute is our equation. B equals 18 times M. Okay, so we can represent the relationship using tables and graphs. So here we have a table, and we say time, we used H, and distance, we used D. So that means that this time must be represented hours in their word problem. So H is going to be the dependent or the independent. Independent goes along the x-axis, so we want to label this H. The distance, the D, is going to be the dependent, so it is going to go along the y-axis, so now that axis is labeled D. So what variable represents the input? That would be the H. What variable represents the output? That would be the D. Let's try this again. The Green Club is having a car wash to raise money. They are charging $6 for each car they wash. Write an equation, make a table to show the relationship between the number of cars washed. So if we're doing cars washed, we probably want to represent that with a C, and the total amount earned. If we are doing total amount earned, we probably want to represent that with a T. So here in our table, we have a C and we have a T, and we have to find our rule. So if we use our words, we could say that the total amount earned is 6 times the cars washed. So that means that the equation is 6 times C, or our rule I should say, and then T equals 6C. I would like you to fill out this chart, and then we are going to place our ordered pairs here. Remember that instead of X and Y, we just picked the labels or the variables C for cars washed and T for total amount earned. I'm also going to place the variables here, C representing our input, T representing our output. That way you know which number goes where. So please press pause and fill out your table and your ordered pair, and then we will move to this graph. If you notice, I have already labeled the graph with the new variables. So our C is our independent, our T is our dependent quantity. So we have that question over here. So you will fill that out, but it also wants you to graph the ordered pairs, and then you're going to tell me the independent and dependent, or also known as the input and the output. Once you are finished with that, please fill out your summary questions.